Hi folks, welcome to another video from Biomedical Training Videos. In this video we're going to cover the Kendall 700 series. We're going to look at some of the test modes and error codes, a little bit of troubleshooting. So again, we're going to refer to the operation and service manual. It's quite good for the troubleshooting, error codes, that kind of thing. This is the setup, so we need some sort of manometer with a cuff ideally, and a bulb to generate the pressure. And we plug into the pressure port, again same as the SCD Express. So it's a very simple setup. The front panel is very similar. The A and B buttons again, which are the main ones that you use for most of the tests. So to get into the test mode, the main point is you've got to plug it into AC power. That's a bit of a trap if you're not careful. And then you just hold down the B button when you power up. So this is covering the test modes we're going to look at today. Performance test, self-test, general function test, T0, which is the error history, and verification of pressures. There's no need to do T3 unless T4 fails, and it rarely does, and the other two tests are just factory tests we won't be doing. So when you first turn it on, holding down the B button, this is just showing you scrolling through the various tests, T0 to T7, and T0 is the one at the end, which is the error log. I don't know why they don't label it T0, but anyway. So anyway, T2, the general function test. This is just a test of the leads, the pump ramping up and down the valve. So it's a pretty general sort of a test. So again, we press B to start the test. If we hold B down, the pump will ramp up and then ramp back down again. And each time you press the A button, it will go through and test each of the leads and do a display check at the same time. The video is pretty awful, but you get the general idea. It's a very simple sort of a test to go through. That's test T2. T5, the self-test, is done when it's powered up, so there's probably no need to do this, but again, very simple. It doesn't really explain what it's testing, but my guess is it's the CPU and the general, memory and whatnot. And when it finishes, you get a beep to say that it passed. So that's test T5. Again, quick and easy to do. T6 is a performance test. So here you'd connect up one or both sleeves with all the hoses and all that kind of stuff. Set it up on the bench and let it run through and just watch that it's doing what it should be doing. So this would be a good one to do in the workshop if you can't find anything obvious with it. Run it through this test and watch it inflating all the cuffs, your hoses. Make sure you've got no leaks. And if it passes this, well, you're pretty confident to send it back knowing that it's working. I haven't got one set up, a cuff set up for this. I'm just showing you the screens and how it works. So it does A and then it does side B. So not a bad test to do that one. The error code, error history is quite useful, so it stores the last 10, with 1 being the most recent. So again, we go into test T0, which is the one at the end, and each time you press the arrow button, not the B button, but the arrow, you advance, you see it going 5, 6, 7, up to 10, and then back to 1 again. And this is just showing you There's no timestamp on this, so you've got no idea of when these things happened, whether it was today or 6 months ago. But so kind of not all that useful. But anyway, there's quite a few error codes. There's a separate manual that is good. It explains all of these quite well. I'm not going to go through all of them. There's 3 basic types. There's one that you basically just acknowledge there's some sort of error and keep going, which they call user resettable. Then there's the one where you have to actually turn the unit off and on and restart it, which they call a manual reset. And then there's the service required, where you have to send the unit away to get fixed. Again, I'm not going to go through all these. I've just picked them out from the manual. They're quite good. They show the picture you get on the screen. They give you an idea of which error it is, what you should be doing, and what may have caused these sort of problems. So typically it'll be someone hasn't plugged the hose in properly, or there's a leak in one of the hoses, or maybe one of the sleeves is faulty. So you're getting leaks with pressure and that kind of thing. Mostly user sort of things. Lack of pressure or too much, so a hose might be kinked or something like that. And these are real errors to do with the actual hardware. Again, they don't tell you much. You've got no idea what to really do. But typically the pump fails, or some sort of valve stuck. Maybe the battery's faulty, or it's out of temperature for whatever reason. Again, not a whole lot of information, but really just a bit of a guide of where to get started with it. It's a very reliable unit. You rarely find too many problems. I did have one where the B button was stuck down all the time, so as soon as you turn it on, it went straight into self-test. That was a bit tricky. T4 is a good one, just to check your pressures, make sure the unit's working as it should. This is definitely worth doing when you get it in the workshop. Again, sorry about the crappy video, but so again, you got your manometer there. So you do the 0, then you select 18, and you'll see that it goes from red to green. So when you get a green, you're within range, and then you just press the B button to advance to the next test, and then similarly at 45. So the idea is you pump up past it and then just go back down till you get within range. 47, 6, 5 goes to green. So it's a pretty broad sort of test. It doesn't need to be super accurate. Again, you're just checking the sensor across its range that it's not wildly out. You don't need a precision kind of reference or anything like that, even though the book says you do. I think you just need some pretty common sense sort of. Okay then, hope you got something out of that. We'll see you next time.